Just to give you a little brief story, gentleman, General Spider Marks, Alan, AP Powell, myself, and a lady that was with police liaison with the Phoenix Police Department, Marshall Franklin, sat down after watching Baltimore and said, how do we proactively in Phoenix not have this happen here? How do we develop the relationships in the community to not have the community turn on itself, to be able to make a difference? So the Bridge Forum came out of that spirit of seeing a problem. And this is definitely, there's lots of problems in the world. Today, I'd like to invite everybody to be in solution mode, because today is really about what can we do better as a community, what can we do better as law enforcement, and most importantly, what can we do better together? And that's the premise of the Bridge Forum, is how do we build the bridges we need to make sure that these things stop happening.
I welcome everybody to Louisville here. A lot of folks have been thanked, so I won't go through that again, but I do want to say thanks to AP over here. We talked a lot during the week of the Muhammad Ali passing memorial, and he said, I need to do more for my hometown. So thanks for following up, and we're going to learn a lot here today, so I appreciate you very much. As mayor, obviously, my first job is public safety. Everything that we do depends on that, from a healthy business environment to special events that we put on in the city, whether they're small events or big events like the Kentucky Derby Festival. We can only do that if we're a safe city, and our police officers have a tough job. We all know that. And it's obvious that the police officer's success on the job is critical to our success and our progress as a city as well. And I think there's nothing more important that we can do than strengthen the relationship between the police officers and the communities they serve, and vice versa. This is very much a two-way street in today's world.
In your rearview mirror, I have no idea why police still stop drivers for non-dangerous activities. To me, that makes absolutely no sense. In Washington, D.C., and I know in a number of other cities, they don't stop people for speeding. They have cameras that take your license plate number and they send you a ticket. And we still are stopping people for a light bulb out.
And from our point of view, it didn't matter whether you were black or white. It didn't matter whether you were a man or a woman. All we saw was that uniform. And from our perspective, you were the enemy. And you were the enemy until you proved us different. And you proved us different by what you said to us and how you treated us. And oh, by the way, you have about 30 seconds to make that impression. As police officers, how we talk to people and how we treat people truly, truly matters. It's why as an organization, we have spent the last 2 years of training, and we're going to continue to reinforce this with the concept of procedural justice.
Initial thoughts on this Bridge Forum in Louisville, Kentucky, the dialogue and conversation that's, I'm sure, taking place in your neck of the woods as well as here.
Yeah, it was a great forum. I certainly do applaud those that put this together. Very timely for this community, as in many other cities across the country. And anytime you can get police and community and in the room together and engage it towards positive conversation and start talking about solutions and just not the problems is a monumental task. So my hat's off to all those involved in that.
And it's ironic because it's not just that color blue, it's blue associated with law enforcement, because when a fireman shows up, everybody breathes a sigh of relief. Why? They know that that fireman is there to help. They don't have any doubt in their mind that what's going to happen next is going to be at least a positive thing toward whatever that crisis is. But unfortunately right now what we have is not that same feeling when the blue shows up with the same kind of gold badge. But in this time, they're armed and they represent a police department.
Out today, I also would like to thank Alan and his people involved in putting this bridge summit together. I think it was a great idea. I've seen a lot of things happen in the West End. I spent my high school years in the East End. In the two areas that I mentioned have a lot of crime in the area. I'm not a politician. I'm not an elected official. I'm just a citizen of this community and of the West End that knows that this forum is definitely needed to relieve the tension between the general public and the policemen right now.
Oftentimes it was difficult because you had to respond differently to different areas of the community. So in fact, we began to do different things based on the responses that we were getting from those different types of communities. Some communities we went in with warm and fuzzies, but some we had to go in and we had to go in with task force. We had to go in with reinforcement. We had to go in with sustainable strategies to try and communicate with the community. And they don't look for the here and now. They want to know, are you going to keep this up?
Talk about how the community talks about things, but within your own house when people were giving out bad information. When we realized the fact that with Trayvon, the way the media had portrayed him, the way that the media had portrayed George, the way the media had portrayed the city. And I'll put it in this instance very quickly, is that when there were 20,000 people in our community who came in peacefully. When I say 20,000 people, there was not one arrest. There was no damage to anything that was in our community. But what the media failed to do was go in and start talking to those pastors who were actively involved in making sure that those things stayed safe.
With all the different groups. One quarter it might be people from the African American community, then the Asian community, the Muslim community. So we try to go the gamut. And we listen to what they ask us and what they tell us that's needed in their communities and what they tell us on what they see about police responses in their community. NAACP shared with us that one of the things they wanted us to do was start a cultural diversity class for our new cadets. And that's exactly what we did.
Your thoughts, Ms. Maddie, on the forum, the intense dialogues, and the breakout sessions with different backgrounds from all over the country?
Well, I'm so excited to have been a part of the forum. I think it was very needed. It was excellent dialogue. And the most important thing is that the people that came to this room today, they're coming with solutions to problems, not just coming to complain about what's not being done or what's being done over here. We came in as leaders today, not just us, the police chiefs from all over the country, but the citizens of this community who came in saying that we want to offer solutions to what's going on in our country, in our nation, and particularly in our city.
One thing that was big in our session was there's a disconnect between communities and officers in our communities, how we have to keep each other accountable and keep our own communities in check if we want to have a good relationship with our officers. We can't always blame the system. Sometimes it's just the at-home situation, how we have to keep our own people in check and make sure that we're doing everything we can to play our part. And once we figure out how to find the middle ground to make that bridge, then we can have conversations how to make things better.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to understand,
And Bishop will come right
I
back
guess
to you.
what I'm trying to understand and what I think I'm hearing him saying is that at the end of the day, why does it seem like that law officers can control us? They control the whole situation once it gets to us. It's almost like our voice isn't heard, but they're already at the conclusion based on speculation or whatever.
Exactly.
And then they don't want to hear us. It's almost as if they're forcing the situation to be worse than what it is in a lot of ways.
Okay.
When honestly, he might be an innocent bystander walking down the street, but when you see a lot of the officers, it's almost as if they don't want to hear him or believe him.
I understand
And
that.
so it's almost, I think it's where people feel like they don't have any control over their lives at the end of the day.
Right.
When there's something when they're not doing anything wrong.
And I think one of the things that we have
So
to...
just happy to be here and engage and to be able to talk about what we're doing in the city of Detroit. We believe what we're doing in the city of Detroit, we have it right. There are so many things that have happened over the years from the riots of 1967. We were one of the police departments that had stress. We had a group of 4 white officers in a vehicle. They patrolled the African American community. They assaulted, they shot African American men for whatever the reason. We've come through that over these years, and right now we
The
understand.
forum is much needed. It was phenomenal. The conversation has to take place. The reason that we are in conflict across this country right now is because we're not having real conversations about what is actually happening, where the anger and the frustration stems from, what our roles are as police and as a community. That dialogue has to take place before we can even begin to solve the problem. We have to actually talk about it. So this is a great forum, a great place to begin, and I'm just excited and honored to be a part of it.
Talk to me about the breakout session that you were listening in on and the dialogue in there particular.
So for us, conflict management, and when you think about the situations that are happening across the country now, conflict management is needed, obviously. So what we talked about a lot was how do we allow ourselves to be able to connect with each other, but then to also come up with programs that would allow us to be able to find out more about each other, and kind of making the law enforcement more personable, and really making the citizens more personable to the law enforcement. And what it does is it desensitizes, situations. But if we don't have that type of connection, but when we do have that connection, you can empathize.
Looking at those businessmen and businesswomen, and I said, what can I do to try to help those individuals come and have the same similar success that I had, while at the same time turning around and paying it forward themselves. So I encourage all of you today, while you're here, think of this bridge as an opportunity for us to find ways to resolve things together. But also don't forget the fact that we have to police our own neighborhoods. Don't forget the fact that we have individuals out there that need to be able to step up and have those opportunities to be exposed to individuals that are out there. We got a lot of business owners that are minority owned that could go out into these communities and give them a realistic way of being able to get out. Not all of us are going to escape as a famous ball player or a famous rapper. That percentage is very small. So what we need to do is encourage them to be business people. I would love to go into prisons and help those individuals that unfortunately made the wrong choices to get out and all of a sudden become successful businessmen and businesswomen. So again, I thank you for
K-12 systems, but still kids aren't learning. And they don't get skills that they can actually use to get a good job, not just a job, but a good job when they finish school. So they follow all of the rules, 12 years of K through 12. They go to college, many of them, and do 4 years of that, and they come out and they're still unemployed. So guess what? That police officer who pulls up to me, that even the guy told me, he said, police officer pulls up to me and he says, I'm speeding, indeed, because I'm rushing to go somewhere. He comes up. What he doesn't realize is that I've been threatened with being evicted. I got child support payments that I owe. I don't have a job and I have no prospect of getting a job. No matter how nice that police officer is, this is not going to be a good day for either one of us. And that was just a moment where it realized this level of frustration is almost, to some extent, officers, is probably sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. And those are the discussions we have to have in our community. That's why HBCU work and work at colleges like Simmons College is so critical. When you go through those neighborhoods, we've got to educate our own people. We've got to give them hope.